Hello. Really interesting. I really enjoyed that. So thank you, chaps. I wanted to just pick something up. A comment that Dheeraj made about bricks and mortar here to stay, and about online penetration being fairly low out in the US, and perhaps that's a model and something we should watch elsewhere. I wonder though, India in particular, and other markets too, but India in particular, is there not the big opportunity now is in mobile, and in a way it's quite transformational potentially, isn't it? And as you know, Steve Jobs referenced, you know, it's sort of about jumping to the next curve, and you wonder in a way if we haven't. Maybe India should just miss out on online and go straight to mobile, you know, and show the way forward. I just wonder what your comments were about that, really.
I think you're the mobile guy.
Yeah. we'll have the guy from Vodafone.
Yeah. So I think Jonathan is very good.
Is that okay? Did I say it right? Is that okay?
It's a great point, actually, Jonathan. So, you know, from a mobile business and seeing the mobile revolution happening, it's interesting to see. You know, India took a decade to get to about 100 million internet users, and we've added 100 million internet users in 3 years. And there's one reason why 100 million users have been added in 3 years, and that's the mobile, because that's mobile internet is what's really powered this growth. And it's, you know, we'll become the second largest internet country in the world by the end of 2014. We'll overtake US. You know, we will be about 250 million internet users in India. Only next to China, you know. So in that sense, mobile is indeed picking up. The question is, how much is mobile commerce picking up? You know, how much? So there is, you know, when I actually travel to rural parts of India, trying to understand what consumers do with mobile, most of it is entertainment. You know, we love Bollywood, so they like to see a lot of stuff on YouTube. That's becoming important. We do also see Facebook, you know, becoming, so India is largest Facebook country, you know, in that sense. So when Kirtika Reddy, who's the CEO of Facebook, talks about India, you know, and when Mark Zuckerberg says that internet should be a fundamental right, I think we are leading it from the front in this country. We are actually trying to make that happen in that sense. So you're absolutely right. Mobile will play an important role. Shops will come on the mobile. People will shop on the mobile. It will take some time, but I think there is a serious opportunity in India to leapfrog, you know, and therefore the screen becoming the place where people will shop and not that large screen, you know, and the PC.
The one challenge, Jonathan, that I see here for e-commerce, particularly from mobile perspective, is payment gateways.
Yes.
So unfortunately, we are very regulated. So even today, if I have to buy a ticket online, I have to wait for my bank to send me an SMS, which I input. Now to do that on a mobile is till the time you go into one-click shopping, I don't think mobile will take off.
I think the other thing to add to this is that how many people in India do have credit cards or debit cards, you know, for that matter. So that's just another thing, that technology, although the mobiles have definitely mushroomed, places where there was no electricity are connected through mobile. There was no landlines in India, still are not. And thanks to the, you know, mobile technology, that the entire country is connected. I mean, that definitely is there. But then on the other flip side of it, if we think that's going to help immediately in turning it into sales, I really doubt it, because the other parts, like Rahul just mentioned, you know, with the gateway, the payment gateways, as well as actual, you know, credit cards and even credit rating agencies, we have a long way to go so far, you know, that is concerned.
Hi, my name is Vandana. I'm from Clocks, and my question is on omnichannel retailing. The concept of omnichannel retailing is very interesting, very exciting, and my understanding essentially would be that a customer can buy from a product of his choice, from a channel of his choice, via a payment gateway of his choice, and potentially be able to return it at a channel of his choice. But as a business community, as a retail community, are we ready to be able to offer it to our consumer, given the dissonance between GT, MT, and e-commerce, and, you know, the way they operate and the differential structures? Are we ready as a business community? Thank you.
The clear answer is probably not. Yeah, the short answer to your question is probably not. However, having said that, you know, we have seen how it's evolved in some of the international markets. Yeah, and there are lots of learnings for us from there. Particularly, I would, you know, I put a, you know, line under markets like UK and the US, particularly UK. where this has taken off in very, very interesting ways. And it's not just e-commerce, some people think omni-channel is more about e-commerce. It's probably the reverse. E-commerce is one part of the story, arguably the smaller part. The largest part of the story is what you do in your store, what you do in your basic processes in your store. So for example, if you go to Tesco's in UK, on a separate note, an example is that you can do a self-checkout. Yeah? So you can check out yourself on your own. Now, Tesco's doing a smart thing, they're outsourcing that manpower back to you. And B, you do it at your own pace, you want to move faster, you do it faster, slower. And country like India has challenges galore. How many stores in India do you know allow you self-checkout? Okay, probably none. Yeah, and so there are complexities in doing this, people may tell you that technology is a big challenge. To my mind, technology is only one of the challenges. The other challenge is doing the way you're doing business, changing that. So for example, a return transaction. If you do it on e-commerce today, okay, so there is a courier who comes and hands you the parcel. The courier expects you to sign the parcel even before you open it, for most e-commerce companies, yeah, and it's a outsourced courier. Some of them have their own companies, majority of it is outsourced. You want to return that, somebody else is going to come back and do another, run to your house to come and pick it up, and probably that will not happen same day, it may be next day or the day after, So in a world which is brick and click, some of these things can become much easier. So to come back to your original question, probably people aren't as ready, but I think that's true of international markets also. They weren't ready there either. But this is something which is going to come to stay. And his words, Dheeraj said about brick and mortar stores aren't going away. You might read a lot about what's happening on the e-commerce space. To give you an idea about the numbers, the Indian retail market is about $500 or $600 billion on a GDP of about what, 1.3, 1.4 trillion. Yeah, about 40-45% of that, about 500 billion is the total retail trade. Within the retail trade, Dheeraj mentioned to you about 7 to 8% give or take, okay, which is what, $40 billion is modern retail. And there's a company called IAMAI, which has done an estimate of merchandise trade, and they've kept out the travel sector. Let's keep travel aside for a minute. Yeah, that their estimates are $1 billion, which is 6,000 crores. Today's paper, I read something which said 3 billion, so I'm guessing it's somewhere in that zone.
Data is, nobody has a clue.
Nobody has a, but it's likely to be in the $1 to $3 billion genre. The $1 to $3 billion vis-a-vis 40 billion. So in a market like India, there's space for all. I think all of these things happening is going to increase the size of that pie. And we are nowhere near the kind of problems that UK and US might have in terms of penetration. That's very, very early days for us in this.
So just one point adding to that is, see, my experience has been, we are a very assisted society. We want, so if you go to the airport and there's a kiosk, there's a person standing who will take a coin and put it for you, which is like defeats the whole purpose, right? So as an economy, as a culture, we are very assisted oriented, and especially when it comes to shopping. So you'll walk into a swanky mall, there will be nice trolleys, but you'll have a person who will pull the trolley for you and take it till your car. Labor is cheap. The other thing that comes to my mind is I see a lot of channel conflict. So if you look at a brand called Tissot watches, if you see their print ads, they very clearly mention, we do not sell on the internet in India. Warranty does not apply. And Tissot watches are available online. Clear case of channel conflict. Till the time we, sorry, you were saying something.
Absolutely, that's the whole point. That is the point I was trying to bring up. The channel conflict between modern trade, general trade, e-commerce, operating on different fundamentals, different margins, different sourcing. Sometimes there are parallel imports happening for some brands. So in that scenario, it becomes very difficult for a brand to be able to offer omni-channel retailing.
See, the thing is, when you say retail in India, the word that comes to mind is a bazaar. We are very much into chaos, right? And then something will emerge out of it, which will.
So it's more difficult for established retail to do it versus a new player might start doing it. It's easier for a new player to do it.
Right. Yes.
Sorry, just going back to your point on mobile.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's really important that when we talk about mobile, we distinguish between shopping and buying. So everybody says, oh, m-commerce is too difficult because of this and this and this, and it is, but people use their smartphones for many other things in the shopping process.
Yes.
And I think it's about identifying how the mobile can assist the shopping process, the experience, not will I buy it at the end of the process on my mobile. So I think that's the enabler that mobile is, rather than actually being a checkout transaction position.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, Lucy from Fitch has done this fabulous study for us, which is called as Mind States of Shoppers, which is what, I'm not stealing the thunder, Lucy, from your presentation, I hope. So there are 3 states, which is dreaming, exploring, and locating. So you're absolutely right. In the first 2 shopper states, which is dreaming and exploring, mobile definitely plays an important role. You often see people actually in shops, and you know, Google has become a verb. So you actually see people just going right in front of the merchandise, Googling and checking out prices at other locations. This happens very much here in India. It happens anywhere in the world. So, you know, we are no different in that sense. So it really helps that process. Vinay?
Yeah, just to add to that point, you look at how e-commerce has evolved in India. In India, e-commerce started with the travel industry. And I don't have some off-the-cuff numbers, but my guess is that a big chunk, the largest chunk is still travel. And take the example of you know, any of us. I'm seeing people sitting here. What I do on when I want to buy a flight ticket is I often go to the ClearTrip app on my cell phone, okay? But then I get my secretary or I go on myself to a desktop and then complete the transaction in its entirety. Yeah, but so that's where e-com started in India with travel, and it has moved on to shoes, apparel, furniture. You know, somebody spoke about they bought, you know, cars on internet recently. So anything can be bought now. And I think on the mobile, it's beginning with at least people viewing, like you said, shopping is different from buying. But it's a matter of time. It's, you know, Apple, the iPhone 6 is rumored to have, what is it, a 6-inch size phone. And as these sizes get bigger, you know, in any case, we know from shopperstop.com that we run, a lot of our business comes from tablet shopping, yeah, which is in a sense mobile and which is in a sense a desktop. So it's just a matter of time, and I think travel will be probably the first one which will start transacting, and sooner than later you'll see other merchandise.
All right, I think we've overshot time, so thank you all. It was a fantastic discussion, very enriching for myself as well.